All right, I am here again, doing this in the kitchen, and so today I was inspired by at the store. I spent such some time there, and had found these are some silicone cooking thingy-madoos for baking, and I've used them before. No, I mean I'd used just like a type where it was more of a cooking tray. At any rate, I've decided to. Oh, I need a spoon. I had so here's some sugar. I took out these last night. This is some egg whites, and then I take some sugar and I throw it in there. They are warm, and that way I think they're dried out and in there. So, and then I'm gonna just do this for as long as I can. So what you do is, you can see it's already starting to form some whatever. So I was thinking about what I was going to say while I do this. This is a process, and it should take as quickly as I can possibly go. I'm using this plastic, at least I'm not using the metal. Because metal on metal is awful. So you can see it's already starting to form some. But yeah, what was I going to say while I was doing this? Wait, what am I baking? I'm baking something that is going to be poofy enough to fill them out. When I throw it in there, then it'll. And it's all about texture. Right, that's what I was going to talk about. The dimensions of texture in baking. So there's dimensions, right? On a graph, every axis is a dimension. So you have positive and negative on the x and the y. Now, they, oh, looking good. With a siren going past. I guess somebody collapsed. So I guess 50% of calls are for collapse elderly, and 50% are or drug overdose, and then the other 10% of calls to the ambulance when they get a code 3 like that. Code 3 is when they can shut down the road. Now it's starting to stick to the sides. So here's some flour. I'm gonna need a rest in just a minute here. When you do this first thing like this, I haven't even thought about it yet. Okay, but this is gonna be mixed up with. Okay, so the dimensions of texture. I used to do the cakes, and I was like, okay, this is more bready than cakey. And then after I got out of the bread phase, I was more into like, this is more cookie than, wait, bread, cookie, cake. Okay, then it was more like cake, cookie. And then I was getting more into cookie cake. So there's a misconception about points on, not points, but on a graph, like the axes of dimensions. When you're charting it, you don't necessarily have to have only one or the other. You can have, the chart can be filled out in multiple dimensions. Oftentimes you get stuck in a, okay, this is more cakey than this, but that's a duality. You know, the cookie cake duality is not, well, I guess for each point on the graph there is, obviously, if you have, okay, it's easy to imagine x, y, this is all positive, right? So it's more that than that. But then if you get another axis, the z dimension, then you can get into candy also. And then candy, so it can be more candy than starch, because there's sugar and starch. So that's all that food is sugar or starch. And then on each dimension, I guess, would be more one than the other. But even then, you don't have to have it. You can have like two completely irrelevant categories for positive and negative. For example, if you have positive, or not even positive or negative, but just like on the axes, one side of the spectrum, you could call it, you have a different stratum. So each point could be, for example, this is more black than it is hard. So you could have on one side of the dimension, or not hard, but hollow. Let's go with hollow. So it's hollow, but it's also black. But at any point in time, you're considering one trait over the other. So it's not as though they're mutually exclusive. So you could fill out on the here, let me just take a couple seconds. Oh wow, it's looking really good. You can see it isn't doing it quite yet, but it'll form peaks. That's what they call it. But yeah, the graph. So imagine that you have you're considering, okay, this is red, right? So you have something that's red, and on one side of the dimension, on the other dimension is hollow. So it can be both, and the graph would look like this. It would just be like these two big blocks. And then you can also have a z dimension, which is how something else is it. So then you have 6, and then you can, because it doesn't really matter, you can have another dimension too, like w. So there's your 4 axes, 8 dimensions, and that's how many of texture I was thinking about last night. What am I going to talk about while I'm doing this? It's so loud that I have to keep talking, and there we go. So now you get into double time. So what are the dimensions of texture? Now this is very critical for the future of 3D printing food, because you can obviously just have anything as technically food. And you can have all the nutrients that you need, and it'll just be a block of disgusting inedible. But then you have different dimensions. to the food, dimensions of texture. So obviously there's cake dimension, there's cookie dimension, there's bready dimension. So that's 3 we've got going. What are some other dimensions of food? Oh, right, okay. Cookie, cake, bread, candy. So most people in their day-to-day thinking are stuck in a duality. I run into this in class all the time. I'm in a psych class right now. Oh, wow. Okay, beautiful. Let me see if I can. Yeah, see? In class. That's pretty good. I can do a little more. I don't usually do this, so I don't know if you can overdo it. So in class, everybody's stuck in a mind-body duality. And then obviously you can be like, okay, you got mind, body, plus something else, spirit. Mind, body, plus you're doing something. Okay, I'm not going to go on the road to Topeka here. But the point is that it's very. I even noticed this when I started baking. It would be so easy to say, oh yeah, we're going with the coffee cake, cookie, and it's more. So then you would also have in the cake, I usually would do some kind of fruit cake. So then you were like, you could have a dry fruit, you could have a fresh fruit, you could throw the fruit on the stove, you could mash it in. Okay, whatever. So that's just great. And okay, so psych. You have your mind, body. Now, how much do I put of this in there? I'm gonna go with not very much. That's how much. I'm gonna do this. I wish I had some cream of tartar. That's what it's called. Okay, so you're supposed to do just a little bit of this. That was way too much, I'm sure. But the point here is that I have sugar. That's what I was going to do. Okay, so sugar. Uh-oh, it's stuck. Need a spoon. Oh, I'm over here. Turn this on. 300. So I just did a paper about the dimensions of values. You have people who value physical dimension. People will value their relationships. They value their career. You know, that's a more professional relationship. And you have people who value the future. You are in a society wherein, or not a society, but a culture where you have people who value the example that I used, because I don't like to compare. So I did people who are in a culture. You know, you got your wife and your son every day, and you come home and they yell at they're complaining. Okay, so I'm just going to do butter, sugar, and then I'm going to fold in. Maybe I'll do a couple of the egg yolks there in the fridge, so that I'll get this creamy. Nice idea. And then when it's all creamy, or maybe I'll put some cream in here, and then it'll be like a soft dough. So they come home every day, and they're in a culture where they're very religious and family, and they get home and it's like work never happened, and all of a sudden they're in their culture again. And we've got chunks. So yeah, I am gonna do cream. Grab those. Oops. Egg yolks, just maybe I want to use. People are in that culture, and it's possible that their personal values are different than their cultural values. So they recognize that the culture around them has these virtues, is what it's called in a culture. And they value these certain virtues. In America, people value the two dimensions of values are not. Okay, so the Middle East is a particularly future-oriented, relationships and future. So they're very social when they get home, and they're very religious too, supposedly. I heard that today's first day of Ramadan. And okay, so now everybody will get together and they celebrate eating together. And they have a family, and they're all about food for Ramadan. So that during Ramadan, the culture is all about food. They love to not eat together. But during the rest of the year, all that they think about is just family and future. They think about that, and they don't care about working, and they don't care about working out, or about food, or feeling good. All that they care about is their social life and their life after this life. So it's very depressing and not like ours. I say that because I am of my value system. Wow, it looks really good. And I think that I'm going to try to make it, no, it looks good enough, whatever. I'll make it a little softer with the vanilla. So what I'm doing right now is I'm really creaming this up. Oh, I may as well do that. Oh yeah, this is gonna need to be not this. I recognize right now that it is not going to fold. The point of the egg whites that it all folds together real nice like. How long is this stupid? Oh my gosh, 20 minutes I've been doing this? What am I, okay, so let's get to some point here. So let's say that I value the texture of cake. I really like cake. And if I'm not eating cake, then, or I like cakes and cookies, so I like that dimensions. But if I don't like it sitting, I like it sitting on the counter for like a week, and then it becomes more cookie, or I mean more cakey. No, it becomes more candy-y. This is just awful. This is really awful. Okay, in goes the egg whites. sort of. Okay, don't forget the baking soda. That's the magic ingredient. That's how it's all gonna... This is just awful. What can I do to make it more liquid? The reality of cooking is that I don't really know how to cook. So here we go. What was the point of the paper that I wrote? The people are depressed, and that when their values are different than their... Whoops. When their value is different than that around them, then there is incongruence. Okay, you know what? I am doing the egg yolks. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what'll make it more something. That's enough. Maybe two egg yolks or something. The reality is that this is just going to be good no matter what I do to it. It's really impossible to mess up something of such caliber. Alright, so do you want to see what this looks like? It looks like some kind of awful... Yeah, okay, who cares? So the point is that you keep it together. You can kind of see it starting to separate. That's probably more than enough. Use all that flour on the sides. Okay, and that's the last of the egg white. And I have these, and the oven's preheated. And was I going to... I was not going to throw these almonds in there, but I took them out, so I will throw a couple almonds in the tops. And then maybe the next batch I'll do no almonds. because I don't really think that these will be that cool. Whoops, okay, I need a smaller spoon. Let me see what I'm, whatever. I'll show you after. So, alright, I'm going to psychoanalyze myself here. First of all, the spoon I'm using could be bigger. I don't really like how time intensive this is becoming. So I'm going to psychoanalyze myself and baking here. This is entirely a physical process. And while I'm doing it, I am thinking about the future, and I'm also thinking about about other people, because I don't talk to myself. And I'm also thinking about this is some other thing that I'm thinking about. Oh, texture, okay, and then what else is there to think about? Other than texture and oh, okay. There's going to be another batch, so and this is going to take about not that long in the oven, because I think that I've never used the silicone ones before. And there's more dimensions to life other than physical and work. Okay, so I'm going to serve these at work, and right, so the last batch was the choco pie. Choco pie, and it was really good, and everybody ate them in 2 days, or in 1 day, and it took 2 days for them all to be gone. It disappeared really fast. And when you do an art like that, it isn't really work. It's art. Not really, but it's a reason to I'm going to throw these in the oven. So this, where are they? There they are. Okay, there. And then, how do I do this with the? Okay, so that's why I baked these, is because they ran out. Oh, my friend, it's your birthday. It's the 12th today. So, okay, how can I do this? Okay, here they are. It's really hard to film stuff. I know that a lot of people are really like, oh, I don't want to film stuff. There we go. and then I'll check it in 15 minutes. Alright, so I walk over and I see that they're like this. Yeah, they are. I mean, I don't even know if you can get the lighting right, but you can see that. Yeah, I mean, they're good to go out of the oven. So, sort of get a little thing to do. Yeah. Now, I'm going to leave the oven on to get these off of there, and then I'm going to do another batch, but that's that. Oh, and remember they have like, anyway, maybe I'll take a picture when they're done. Cool. Or drying or whatever. Well, as you can see, there is the last of them. The cupcakes. Well, they don't have this commercial thing. What is it? Tin. They don't have that. But we are gonna take these to the kitchen for later. You can see everybody really liked them,